We start selling and telling. We start selling and telling. And so I want you to listen to this. When you are in selling mode, your frame of mind is all about trying to convince and persuade. Write that down. Selling equals convince and persuade. Selling equals convince and persuade. Trying to convince and persuade someone why your service is better, because that's what you're selling, right? A service. Why your service is better than anyone else's and why they should work with you. So then naturally, the more compelling your presentation and value proposition, the faster they will hopefully sign on the dotted line, right? 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 How much time do we spend putting our listing presentation together and our buyer presentation together? And we go in there and we puke all over the seller and the buyer. I mean, that's what we're doing. I'm sorry. It's the truth. Hate to say it. When we're selling and telling, we're selling and telling and trying to convince and all this other stuff. And guess what our buyer or seller hears? Anybody ever listen to, you ever listen to Charlie Brown, you know, the teacher? Wah, 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 wah. So here's the thing. It doesn't matter, honestly, at the end of the day, how active you are on social media and how popular you are, what kind of reputation you have. Although reputation is important, but reputation that people perceive, whether you're the number one agent in the land or you're the number 1,000th agent in the land. Every person that goes in there into a presentation and just sells and tells, that's what the person's hearing, because they don't want to be sold. And so they stop listening. It goes right here. They stop listening, right? It's the difference of when you walk into a retail store and someone says, "Can I help you?" And you say no. And they start telling you about all the specials that they have and everything that's the newest stuff in there. And you don't care because it's not what you're looking for anyway, right? So stop. So then the next thing we do is we say, okay, well, if we're not going to sell and tell about everything that we know, what do we do to be compelling? Right, Nick? Nick, you're going to go in and you're going to make a presentation to a listing, and that seller has already heard from 4 other agents. What are you going to do to separate yourself from those 4 other agents? Here's what you're going to do. When you are in a serving and consulting mode, write that down. Serving and consulting. Serving and consulting mode. You can't really prescribe a solution unless you understand the problem. You cannot provide a solution unless you understand the problem. All right, so I don't want to poo-poo the listing presentation, okay? I'm going to pretend here. This is my listing presentation. It's not, but this is my listing presentation. And in this listing presentation, I've got 100 ways to fix that seller's problem and to get them what they want. Does that seller care about these 100 ways? No, they don't. They have 3 to 4 things on their mind, and you need to know which of these 3 and 4 things can help them so that they truly see you as a consultant and not a real estate salesperson. Guys, I'm trying to teach you how to survive in an environment where you have high competition for listings. Can we say today? Can we say today? Right? When the market falls flat out, can we say tomorrow? If listings are the way to have a predictable and sustainable business in real estate so that you're not at the mercy of a buyer, whether they work with you, whether they decide to buy, whether they don't decide to buy, if you know that one listing a month gets you 12 listings a year, and how many buyers a year? If your listing is properly marketed, somebody tell me how many buyers I get a year off of 12 listings.
24.
24. 24. 24. So if I get 24 buyers off of 12 listings, how many closings do I have a year? 36. Get your calculators out. Get your calculators out. Everybody pull out your calculators right now. I want to see them. I want to see them. Show me your phone. Okay. I want you to go here and I want you to take your average commission for your market. Now I'm in Naples. The average commission is like $20,000, but we're going to say 10 just to be on the safe side. But here's the thing, whatever the average commission is for your market, what I want you to do is I want you to take that average commission amount and multiply it times 36. And for Naples, I'm going to say it's 12,000. I want to hear somebody's number. What'd you get? What'd you get?
336.
Tell me, Rosamond.
360,000.
360,000. Joanne Eckert, 288. Annie Wills, 432. Lisa, 432. So here's the thing. If you knew that 12 listings a year could make you anywhere from $300,000 to $500,000, would you master this? Would you master this? Okay, so nothing else matters. We can all agree on that. Nothing else matters but the listing. So here we go. So we're not going to sell until we're going to be a consultant. We're going to be a consultant in the business. And here's where I want you to kind of shift your mindset. Imagine going into a doctor's office and your doctor is stressed out over what to say to you. Like you have a real problem. And your doctor is stressed out over what to say to you. But how can they be stressed out over what to say to you? They don't even know what the problem is yet. So here's where I want you to change your mindset. When you go into a listing appointment, because on Tuesday and Wednesday, you're going to learn to get the listing appointment. You're going to learn to get the listing appointment. On today and Thursday, we're going to talk about what to do at the listing appointment. At the listing appointment, you are a doctor asking questions. So here we go. Let's talk about what questions you ask. If you don't mind me asking, what's the most important thing to you and your family in selling your home? What's the most important thing to you and your family in selling your home? Just ask the question. And here's the key. I want you to write this down. What else? What else? What else? Okay, so I'm going to say something here that's probably going to get me in some trouble because well, I'll just say, this is me. It's probably not any of you. My husband, I'm ticked off and my husband comes to me and he says, "What's wrong?" How many of you say nothing? I say nothing. Guys, sorry. Nothing's wrong. And he asked me, he's like, "No, really, what's going on? What's wrong?" "Well, I just blah, 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 blah." All right, well, what else? "Well, blah, 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 blah," right? That's the same thing with a seller when you go into a listing appointment. You ask them, what's important to you about selling your home? And then you say, what else is important or why is that important? Write this down. Who, what, when, why, how, where. I'm going to say it again. Who, what, when, why, how, where. Those are called open-ended questions that elicit more than a yes or no response. When you ask a question of who, what, when, how, who, what, when, why, how, and where, which is another one, which, you get more than a yes or no response. So if you don't mind me asking, what's most important to you about you and your family selling your home, right? Here's a good one. Are you excited to move? Doesn't matter what the answer is. It can be yes or no. Who cares? What's the one thing you're going to miss most about your home? What's the one thing you're going to miss most about your home? Anything you're not going to miss at all, or you're happy to part with? Why do you care about the answers to those questions? Somebody tell me. Any guess? There's no right or wrong answer. Why do you care about the answers to those questions?
So you know what to look for in their next home?
Correct. Lisa Lagergen says, so you know what to look for in their next home. Absolutely. Absolutely. It also gives you an idea about how to price the home because of what someone else might think. Right? And I love that. Motivation. Terry, you're right. It lends to motivation. So let's talk about motivation a little bit. Somebody tell me why knowing someone's motivation is important to becoming the listing agent to sell someone's home. When you're in a competition situation with 3 to 4 other, even if it's one other listing agent, why is understanding someone's motivation to sell so important? Someone tell me. There's no right or wrong
when you're
answer.
pricing it. It
Go
helps
ahead,
for you
Dina.
to price.
Sorry.
It helps you when you're pricing the home and having those conversations with the client.
Yeah, it helps you when you're pricing the home. Absolutely. What else? What else is motivation important? Knowing their motivation.
Yep. If you know the motivation, you're going to be able to, through the whole conversations, through the whole seller, getting their home sold, you can remind them why they're going through what they're going through to get to their goal.
Right. That's exactly right. That too. Pricing, understanding. Here's the thing, guys. Here's what's important about getting a listing every time you go on a listing appointment. Because if you're calling an expired or for sale by owner, an expired may not want to go back on the market. A for sale by owner may not want to list with you and pay a commission. So if you understand their motivation of why they put their home on the market in the first place, and you can show them that by working with you, they can get what they want, you will get that listing every time over someone else coming in there and telling them what they need to do to get their home sold. And this is what that looks like. You go into an expired listing and you sit down and you have a conversation with them and you ask them questions about why they wanted to sell in the first place. Whether they tell you they're not selling or whatever, you ask them, what was the reason you were selling anyway? And they say, oh, well, we were looking to downsize. Is that motivation? No, it's not. That is not motivation. They want to downsize. Why do you want to downsize? Well, we don't need this big of a house because, it's a lot of space and we don't need that anymore. That's still not motivation. What does having a smaller home do for you? Well, it's going to allow us to travel more. Boom. That's the motivation. They want to travel more. And by getting a smaller home that they have less upkeep and maintenance, yard or whatever, it's going to allow them to travel more. And so what I would do is I would then say, great, Joanne, where do you want to go when you're traveling? I want to go to Africa, Becky. Fabulous. And I know this about Joanne because it's the first conversation we had. What does being in real estate do for you? Well, I'll make a lot of money. Well, what are you going to do with that money? Right? So it's the same thing with sellers. Well, where are you going to go? When do you want to go? So if I'm understanding what you're saying, right, is that if you could sell this home and you could find something smaller in an area that you would really like to be in, you would be able to book that trip in the next 3 to 4 months, right? Is that what I'm hearing you say? Well, I don't know about that. We just really think that we're just not going to sell right now. I get it. I understand. But if you did sell, and you were able to close on this home in less than 6 weeks, how would that change your travel plans for the next 12 months, especially now that the world is opening back up? Well, I mean, I could probably think of doing some things differently. That's awesome. That's awesome. All right, great. Well, let me show you what I can do to help you get there. Let me show you what I can do to help you get to Africa in the next 4 months. Be a really cool trip in 4 months, right? So guys, and that's a conversation that I've personally had before with a seller. It's not about the transaction for the seller. It is emotional for the seller. In some cases, it is about the transaction. But even if it's their second or third home, there's a reason they want to sell it. And it's an emotional reason. Whether they want to buy another home, a bigger home, because this kitchen's not big enough, or they want to be in Port Royal and buy a $15 million home because they want to be on the market and they want everybody to know how much money they have. And if you're in Naples, you know what I'm talking about. You know, it's still an emotional reason for them to want to sell. It's still an emotional reason for them to want to sell. So if you approach the listing process as a transaction, you will not be as successful as you could be as a listing agent, and you will work a whole lot harder than someone else has to work. And remember, the goal is 1 listing a month. Raise your hand if you think that you just are not, you're not going to be able to get 1 listing a month. Raise your hand if you truly think that. Like, all of us believe we can get 1, right? We believe we can get 1. The only thing that stops us is this. Hi, my name is Becky. I work for Keller Williams Realty. I see that your home's no longer listed on the multiple listing service and that it's an expired listing. It's not being marketed. I'm just curious, when do you plan on hiring the right agent for the job to sell your home? That's all that stops us. Okay, so questions. All right, I want to hear some ahas. We got 6 minutes left, and then I'm going to give you some homework. We have 6 minutes left. I want to hear some ahas. Ahas from today.
My aha was when you dove deeper into the questions. I mean, like I said, I thought when you asked about if downsizing was a motivation, I would have been like, okay, that's their motivation, but you had to get a little deeper into the core to know exactly what their motivation is. And that's good for me, for sure.
Awesome. Awesome. I'm so glad, because Lisa, you got the one aha that I was hoping to get across today. Now practice this with your family. Practice this with your kids, right? Mom, and I don't know if you have this, but Mom, I want to go outside and play. Well, you haven't gotten your homework done yet. I know, but I want to go outside and play right now. Okay. Well, what does that do for you? What's that? Why do you want to go out and play? Well, because I want to see my friends. Okay. What does that do for you? Now, how does that make you feel? It made me feel happy. I want to be happy, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Da, da, da. All right. So you want me to tell you how you can make that happen? Just take the next 15 minutes. We're going to set a timer. And if you give me 15 minutes focusing on your homework, when that timer goes off, you can go outside and play. Does that sound like a deal? Yes. You can practice this in everyday life. And I don't know, I've never had children, so I don't know if that's the way it goes. Morgan can tell me if that's really the way it goes, but in my mind, I think that's the way it should go. But I know with rational adults, that's the way it goes, right? So practice this with your spouse, your partner, your friends. Really sit down and have a consultative conversation. And when you get really good at slowing things down and moving that seller's mind from looking at you as a real estate agent to a consultant, it changes the game, guys, and it makes this business more enjoyable. At the end of the day, getting to know people and helping them get what they want will make it less frustrating and more enjoyable. Okay, so now here's what I want you to know. Tomorrow, we're going to be practicing our scripts to get the listing appointment. The listing appointment is not, getting the listing appointment is not consultative. It's overcoming objections by asking questions to close for the appointment. It is all about getting the appointment. That's all it's about. But when you get in front of the consumer, it's about asking questions so you know which way to go. Now, here's the thing. We are going to practice on Thursday. I am going to give you a script for a listing consultation for you to find the core motivation. Someone may have 2 or 3 motivations, but there's one core motivation, right? There's one core motivation that you will be able to help dig down into what they really want so you can get them what they want. All right? Any questions? Any questions? Okay, so it is 8:58. Everyone should be getting off of this call right now and lead generating. Every single person should be getting off of this call right now and picking up the phone and lead generating. Guys, call expireds. Just do it. They don't know who you are. Let them hang up on you. Let them do whatever. Look, if you don't have expireds this week, look at 3 years ago. Look at 2 years ago. Get on the phone and start focusing on getting listings. Get listings. Because I promise you, if you get one listing and you properly market it, you will get another 2 to 3 buyers out of that listing. I promise you, it's the way to build a sustainable business. I look forward to seeing you all here tomorrow morning for us to script practice. Zach, good to see you, hon. Let's see you all tomorrow at 8:30. We're going to jump into script practice. Talk to you soon. Bye.